Oh no, there we go, fish on. Let's go, fish on. Look at him, his beautiful spots. He really wanted that ant. Oh! What is up, fishers and foragers? My name is Zach, and if you're new here, I make fishing and foraging content where I go around the Pacific Northwest catching all sorts of fish, finding all sorts of edible foraging goods, and I do a lot of cooking and how-tos as well. So today, I'm gonna do a 100% beginner basic course on how to catch any fish. In this case today, it's gonna be trout, but this will work for like trout or panfish like crappie or bluegill, bass. What I have here is a brand new rod, and I actually got a kit. So this kit is what I'm gonna use exclusively today, minus like some bait. I might forage for some bait, but I wanted to do this so that people understand, like, you don't need a crazy amount of gear, you don't need a fancy rod and a reel. You can just go to like Big 5 for $25 and get a kit that you can take out on the water and catch fish. So let's go ahead and open this up and we'll see what we got. All right, so what do we got here? Looks like we got, this is called the tackle wallet. This is mainly for bass and panfish, it looks like, but this will work for trout too. It's got like this nice folding design, so it looks like it can fit on the rod there. Oh yeah, that's neat. So you can just put it on your rod for storage or carrying purposes. That's kind of neat. This definitely has everything we need today. We're going to be focusing on bobber fishing with bait. Came with these two little bobbers. It came with some swivels, which we won't need just now, but we will need these hooks. These hooks are going to be the key, and these are just some basic, it's like some basic bait holder hooks. But yeah, just very basic bait holder hooks. We're probably going to be foraging for bait. But we're definitely going to start with bait and bobber. The very, very, very basics. So this is your rod and reel. I'm going to take this off too. For beginners, I would say anything within like the 6-foot range, medium to light action. If you do get an action, looks like this one doesn't even have an action on it. But you don't want it too long, you don't want it too like stiff or too loose. So that medium action is going to be a perfect one, if you have the option. If not, I mean, if any of these little kits you buy at like Big 5 or Walmart even, or you know, your local sporting goods stores are going to work great. So anything you find there, it's within your budget. With these little preset kits is going to have most everything you need to get started. Anatomy of the reel. So sometimes you'll see like this can spin both ways. Usually there's a little lever on here, so if I flip this, it will only spin one way. So that's what we want. We don't want it to spin both ways. So this reel's in. This is your handle, your reel. This is your bail. So this thing is what's called a bail. It's very important when you're casting. We have drag. So drag is what you set when you want to either make it harder to pull that line or easier. You tighten it to make it harder to pull that line, and you loosen it to make it easier to pull that line. That's going to be really important when we start getting into bigger fish, where we're going to make sure they're not pulling too hard to break our line. Now, I'm not sure what pound test this is. The line is any line you find is going to have a pound test rating, and that determines like how much stress the line can take before it breaks. But let's go ahead and get this reeled up, or spooled up rather, and get it on the rod. So the rod is going to has a series of, these are eyes or guides, and we need to put the line through each of these going up consecutively. Like I said, very basic. I want this video to be for like someone who says, how do I fish? Never gone fishing before. How do I do it? That's what I'm hoping to accomplish here. So you got to find the end of your line. In this case, it's on, this is actually a little line holder. This little triangle here, and it's got a piece of line sticking out of it. So grab that out, maybe. Okay, so we got our line here. Very important first step. So this is just coming directly off the spool. Very important first step when we're first lining this rod, loosen the drag a little bit, is that we want the line to come out underneath the bail. So what you can do is you can open the bail and then pull your line out and then close the bail around it. And so basically you have the line going through this little guide here, and that allows the reel to function. If you pull the line out above the bail, just like when it's in between here, it'll just spool off without any sort of function whatsoever. Let's go ahead and put these through all these eyes. Be careful to keep the line on the underside of the rod. You don't want to like flip it over once and then put it through a guide. You want them all to go underneath the rod. And for now, that's the drag pulling out. You want it to be pretty loose so you can pull out line easy enough. I think this is about 4 to 6 pound line, which is perfect for trout. It's fine. No worries there. If you get the bigger reels, you'll probably have heavier line, but these small 6 or 7 foot rods with the little kits on them are usually geared for trout or panfish. So 4 to 6 pound line is perfect. We got to go through all those guides and you make sure that it's going underneath the rod. It's not flipped over. We don't want it to be flipped over anywhere. And then we want to pull out some extra slack. So give yourself a little extra line to work with because we're going to learn how to tie a knot. So for bobber fishing, it's really, really easy. We're literally, all we need to do, and check these bobbers. So these bobbers, there's multiple different types of bobbers. These bobbers work by, you have this spring on the end and you pull it over, there's a little notch there. So through there you can see that little notch in the middle of it. So what we need to do is pull this back until it's exposed, and then you can put your line through that notch so you can see it's stuck in that little notch there. And then this can go up maybe 2 feet above the bottom. And then the spring goes back down over it and locks it in place. So now we have this bobber that's in the middle of our line that's stuck there. Perfect. Now at the end of the line, we want to tie our hook. That's it. We don't need to tie any leader for this type of fishing. So I think I put my hook back. So this is the eye of the hook. And then you have the shank, the turn, and the point, obviously. This will be the only knot you'll need for pretty much everything for now. Later on with some more advanced fishing techniques, you can use other knots, but this will work for like everything. All right. So the first knot, it's called the trilene knot. When I grew up, I learned it as the barrel knot. But you want to put your line through here, through the eye, and then you pull it out, and then you come back around the same way. And I'll show you this. So now we have a loop that's going through the eye. So what we did is we had it go through the eye twice, right? So we had this big old loop, and then we have the tag end, which is the short end, and then this is the main line. So I usually pull the tag end out a little bit till the loop is just about this big, just a little loop there. And then what you do is you take the tag end and you wrap it around the main line. So I use my 2 fingers and then I just wrap it around. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do lucky number 7. 7. So this line is wrapped around, the tag end is wrapped around the main line 7 times. Now we have those 2 loops down here that it made. So it made the 1 loop that we made earlier, and then just the line being wrapped together makes another loop. So we want to put the tag end through both of those so it sticks out just like that. And now we want to grab the tag end. I use my teeth, so let's grab it with my teeth. And then you pull on the main line. You hold this still, right? And you pull on the main line. And you'll see it cinch down like that. So once it gets to a small, like it cinches down a little bit, it kind of starts folding together. And that's when you can let go of the tag end because it's kind of already cinched in there. And what I do is I lick it. So wetting the knot reduces friction. And then you just pull it tight. And it should look something like this. You pull it tight. You don't need to pull it too much, just enough for it to come together like that. Oh, that's not helping. That's it. That's the knot. I have another video where I go over this in kind of better conditions, that if you want to see that video, I'll link it below. But we're going to cut that tag end a little shorter. You can use scissors or a knife. I just have a knife handy right now. So now that tag end is much shorter. Oops. Right there. It's barely sticking out. And then we're ready to fish. All we need to do is take this down to the water, find some bait. I think I've seen a lot of ants, so I'm gonna get a big ant. There's some queen ants running around. Or you can look for, you know, worms or slugs, or really just any small bug is gonna work great for this. But let's go find some of those and get fishing. Okay guys, down in the water. I actually already found bait. This little bug here. We're gonna put him on the hook and give it a shot. So all I'm doing is just taking the hook and just putting it through kind of the meatiest part of the bug, I guess. Sorry, little buddy, you're not gonna have a good day. Make sure that the little tackle box is off of here. Now to cast, all you do, so you have your finger here, you hold the rod like this. So you don't hold it down here. You want to hold your right hand up here, your primary hand up there. You can either hold it like this, or I like to have my pinky down there, below there. But to cast, you just take your line and hold it up here against the rod. That way when you flip the bail, it won't fall out. Like if I let go right now, all that line would just fall out. So now I'm going to pull back and then cast, and as soon as I arc it, I'm going to let go of my finger here. And it's not a distance game, you just have to gently cast it in there. Boom. That's it. Now we wait for that bobber to go down. Ideally that little bug is something that these, oh, fish on. Oh! So that worked perfectly. We had bait that the fish are used to. We put it right on the hook and we got a bite, but I didn't actually get the fish to hook on. So let's go ahead and find another bug and we'll give it another shot. That was promising. So in this case right now there's a big queen ant hatch or something. There's tons of these big old ants running around. They're actually queen ants. A lot of people call them carpenter ants, but these are queen ants. Look around on the ground, just look for bugs. It's really cool because if you find them on the ground here, you know that it's going to be something that fish are eating. And you want them to stay alive. And careful, ants do have mandibles. So, try not to get bit. Yeah, she's trying. So I'm just going to hook this right through the butt there. Just like that. So since we cast so lightly, we don't have to worry about it coming off so easy, but we do want to cast pretty light. So we got our hook and a little bug on there. So remember, you want your finger, my index finger in this case, to pull that line against the rod, and then you flip open the bail. And what I recommend is, in this case, let me show it a little better. In this case over there, you have about a foot, 6 inches to a foot of line down from your tip to your lure or your bobber. So again, hold this against your rod. Doesn't need to be tight. Flip that bail, and then we're gonna throw it gently in a big arc. And then as soon as we get like about here, we're gonna let go of that bail and the bait will fly. So again, we want to be really gentle with it. Just perfect. And again, it's not a distance game. It's more about keeping it gentle, getting it out there, and getting it in the zone. And these fish need to be everywhere, so I think that should be fine. And all we're waiting for is that little yellow bobber to go down. With this ant, it's gonna be one shot. With the worms, usually they can take a couple bites. These are literally my bait's landing on me. This is the one I got a bite on last time. Make sure, if you can, if there's a bunch of wind, you want the slack to be as minimal as possible. So when you set the hook, so when the bobber goes down, what you want to do is pull up real quick on the rod, and you set the hook, driving that hook point through the fish's mouth. But you want there to be as little slack as possible, so you kind of have to slowly reel in. The bobber will drift, and you just kind of have to manage it. In this case, the wind's carrying it, so. Oh, I think a fish just took it. Oh no, there we go, fish on. Let's go, fish on. First fish of the day on a queen ant. Nice looking one too. Nice looking fish. Yeah, this is a pretty good one. This is a cutthroat trout. We're gonna keep him, so look at him. His beautiful spots. He really wanted that ant. Oh, don't you. And if you're gonna keep him, you know, you can get a little stringer like this. You can use there's rope stringers, whatever works. But that's it. If you're looking to catch and release, then you should keep the fish in the water as much as possible and wet your hands before touching them. They have a slime coat that wetting your hands before you touch them helps keep that slime coat intact. And then your goal should be to remove the hook from the fish as quickly as possible. If you need to, you can get a pair of forceps, which makes the whole process a lot easier. But basically the goal is to make sure the fish is in the water and off the hook as fast as possible when you're catching or releasing. Successfully fished. Literally all I had with me was that $25 Zebco combo kit. Just used bobber and bug in this case. So that worked perfectly, and literally that was what, 10 minutes of fishing? Yeah. So guys, if you this is like a perfect example. Buying something, just a combo kit to see if you want it to fish, taking it out here, finding your own bait, you know, how to tie the knot, how to rig the bobber, how to cast, and how to catch a fish. That's it. Let's catch some more. Let's do it. And what to do with the fish when you're done, yeah. So I have some videos on my channel about cleaning trout too. I'll link those in one of the corners, however it ends up being, and that way you can see how to clean the trout and eat it. Let's catch some more. Let's get some more fish on that stringer and have a good day.
Looking for more bugs.
Yeah, I gotta find some more bugs now. So a couple extras that I'd probably recommend if you want. Getting a net is important. I use the rubber nets because they're good for the fish's slime coat. So if I'm doing catch and release, it's easier on them. They don't get as disturbed because their slime coat helps keep them healthy. But there are nets that are cheaper than the rubber ones that you can find. Knotless is ideal, but if you can't afford it, then just anything with any net will work fine. And then also pliers or hemostats. So if you're doing catch and release again, you want to be able to get that hook out of the fish quickly and easily. So the hemostats or the pliers work well. And I'll put links to these things that I use down in the description below, so you can see exactly what I use when I'm using. Oh, come on! No way! He had the bobber all the way under. Can't believe that. I guess you were probably looking for queens. Let's get those bobber down. Oh! That's a fish on. He grabbed it and ran with it. Oh, this guy's a little guy. Let's see if he got hooked bad. Keep him in the water. He's not hooked bad. So wet your hands. Perfect. What? Oh, you got a fish? Nice. He doubled up. He's a little better. You want to keep him? He's kind of small, but... Oh, he's gone. Did not even have a chance to... I touched the leader, so it counts. Oh, alrighty guys. Thanks for coming along with us today. I hope you learned a lot. In summary, you don't need anything crazy to start fishing. Those little rigs from, you know, Walmart or Sportsman's or Cabela's or whatever work great. You don't need anything fancy for bait. I literally found a bug off the ground and caught a fish with it. And the end result, you know, you can get dinner for a couple days or for a lot of people in our case. So yeah, if you ever are curious how to fish, if you want to start fishing, I hope this helped you a lot. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll be watching the comments. I'll answer questions. Hopefully you found this informative, and hopefully you can take that information, take it down to your local lake or river, and catch some delicious trout or other fish. Anyway guys, I'm gonna go cook these up. Gonna be a good dinner. Got a bunch of friends here who are coming here in a couple minutes, so got a lot of cleaning to do, but thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't yet, think about subscribing to my channel. I release fishing and foraging videos every week, or almost every week. Try to be every week. And I definitely want to have more of these informational ones too. So, thank you guys, take care, and I'll see you next time.